Good evening, everyone. It is Monday, which means it's time for the Troubleshooters here at Dire Bear Adventuring Company. Do not adjust your set. Yes, I have new ojos. I'm trying to get used to them because you can't see them because there's no line, but they're bifocals, so now I need to learn to move my head like this as opposed to looking down because it makes my brain go weird. All right. So, welcome everyone. It is Monday night and it's the Troubleshooters. If you missed last week's episode, don't worry, I'm going to get you caught up in just a moment. But first, let's talk about some things that we have going on coming up soon. Next week, there will not be another episode of the Troubleshooters because we are doing a special one-shot episode with two of our creative minds behind D&D, Tony Winslow Brill, who wrote for the Candlekeep Mysteries, and Jenny Loveday, who has stuff all over the DM's Guild, as well as writing for Baldman Games and writing Adventure League Adventures. She's a fantastic DM as well as a fantastic adventure writer. Both of them are. More, and not to be outdone, but slightly, because it's the man that got me into DMing anyways, Ed Greenwood. That is right, the granddaddy of Faerun, the creator of it all. Ed Greenwood will be here playing with us next Monday as we run the mystery, the Aldemir Mystery. Aldemir Mystery is the convention one-shot that I'm doing for this season of convention games for Dire Bear Adventuring Company. You guys get to see it all played out next week. It will be Theater of the Mind with those three wonderful individuals. I'm looking forward to it. Same time, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You will see promo stuff going out this week as we get that all hammered out. And if you are in our Discord channel, make sure you say hello to them because they are fantastic folk. Tony and Jenny are already there. I'm working with Ed to make sure that he gets ported in and everything works for him. But make sure you say hello and tell them how much we appreciate having them there. Let's see what else. I got my schedule official for Gen Con, and I've requested my time off. So Gen Con, Indianapolis, September the 17th, 18th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th. That block from Thursday to Sunday, starting the 16th. Somebody will have to check that date on me. I will be running 3 games on Thursday. I'll be running 2 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday. I'm taking time off to enjoy the convention, unlike the first time that I went to Gen Con, where I worked the first one and the last one. I was getting up at 7 a.m. and going to bed at midnight, 1 o'clock, if I was lucky. So I didn't get a chance to enjoy stuff. And so I'm making sure that I enjoy myself this time around. The games start later. There are 9 a.m. games. So, hey, thank you so much for the sub and for the gifted sub. Enjoy that, Deca. So thank you so much. So yeah, the first time I went to Gen Con, I made the huge mistake of scheduling poorly. But like I said, they're later starts now. So originally there were 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. muster times. Now they're 9 a.m. So we've got a little bit more sleep in there. So I'm looking forward to playing, running games, and just having a great time and being in person, doing this in a big, giant, noisy hall of people. And I'm excited about that. All right. So I think that's all the announcements. We just finished Virtual D&D Weekend with Baldman Games last weekend. The next one will be the second weekend in July. I think I'll have to confirm that for you, but as soon as I know more, I'll tell you guys. And I should be working this one. Unfortunately, with Virtual D&D Weekends, they kind of coincided with events that I had going on already, so I had to miss out on a few of those. Let's see. Any other big announcements that I'm missing, crew? I think that's pretty much it for now. At least things that I'm ready to announce and reveal to the world. We are working on a site. We hope to have that up soon. I don't know when, though, so... But if you have a hand at design or anything else like that, helping set up stores and stuff like that, I can't rely on Otter for every little detail. At some point in time, he's going to ask me for some money, and I'm just not sure I can pay him. So, we'll take care of it. But yeah, I think that's all the announcements. So let's talk about last week's episode of the Troubleshooters. They landed in the new world. They were met with a new friend. An excitable fawn by the name of Ren, the satyr himself, was introducing them, asked them a question about where they stopped the train, gave them what they assume is the correct answer, and they were immediately led to a man by the name of Malcolm. Come to find out, Malcolm, although his hair was longer and he had more facial hair, was their good old friend Colm. Something, however, they're not ready quite yet to return to the the old realm to Europe, as they have some issues that they must deal with. And one of those issues is something that's corrupting the forest, something that's upsetting, that a dream came to them of the forest itself. A figure on two legs that moved, a man and a half taller than normal people. The body emaciated, its ribs showing through, tawny skin stretched across, the deer-hooved legs stomping through the forest, its long, spindly arms and fingers nearly dragging at its side. The body ends at the deer head, but no skin or eyes, this skull with antlers that seem to be twisted up with all sorts of decorations in and amongst the antlers. The spirit turned and glared. Something is amiss. But they need to know where to go for now, and so their first thing to do is to seek out one of the seers, one of the people that are, one of the fae that can help them maybe see what lies ahead for them in their fates. And with that, let's start the next episode of The Troubleshooters. All right, welcome back, everyone. So, Gej unfortunately will not be joining us this evening. And I will go ahead and tell everybody who's viewing, tonight will be a little bit of a shorter episode as we set up for the next episode and just to prepare ourselves. And I'm an open person. Yesterday I did a long drive from one end of the state to the other and back to drop off my oldest for camp. And my two youngest are here, of course, as they always are. I don't know where else they would be. But I've just had real big, like, be with my kids vibes. So I just kind of want to go sit and watch a movie with them. And sorry, when you're a dad, you understand. It's just, you just get those moments where you're like, I don't want to miss this moment. Anyways, as you all set out for to the forest, your packs are loaded. You have everything that you need, new weapons in hand for those of you who have them. Ren turns to look at you and excitedly says once more before leaving, is there anything else that you might need or want before we go?
Liz would ask if there was any extra healing potions, because apparently she has not had time to make any.
Okay. You are able to scrounge up a total of 2 for each person, so a total of 8 at 50 gold, or at the equivalent of 50 gold each. So, go ahead and strike that off there.
Clarification gold, for Gunslinger. It says if I can find materials and my Tinker's tools, which I have, I can craft the bullets. What do, aside from the cask I have, would be like materials?
Basically, whenever you fire a round, you have the spent casing. That casing will have to have the gunpowder, the correct amount of gunpowder placed into it, along with a projectile. So you'll have to have a projectile that's shaped, then the casing. So basically what you're going to assume here is that when you fire and you have a spent casing, you're going to take a few seconds to pick your casings up so that you have like a handful of empty casings.
Okay, so...
Oh, those are also percussion cap. So you're going to have some sort of percussion cap. But I figure that you're probably... And see, that's the thing about, they may be rimfire, but usually... Yeah. Raymond, that is absolutely correct. Police your brass. So I'm going to take a moment to nitpick movies. We've seen all these action movies that come out, and everybody fires and casings go flying. The ones that have your brass bags attached to your ejection slot, those are the ones that just give me, I just love those because they actually have a piece that fits over your ejection, and it's a bag, and it collects your brass as you fire, and so you can take and later on recap those, especially when I'm watching a show like The Walking Dead. Hi, ammo is not infinite, it is finite. If you have somebody who has a press and knows how to like remake your ammo, bring in the casings. Why wouldn't you do that? You don't have to worry about it too much. Anyways, I'm done nitpicking. Sorry, this is the thing with me. Also, why don't you put down your weapon? If you killed that guy and he has an AK-47 and all you have is a 9mm, I would rather have a 7.56 round than a 9mm round. That's just me. Those bullets tumble and they do a lot of damage. Why wouldn't you use that? Sorry, now I'm done. It just it just boggles my mind when I watch them solely stick to this one. It's like, okay, sure, whatever you want to do. You're gonna get killed, and I'm gonna laugh. Anyways,
Just start a grinds our gears segment.
I need to like have like 5 minutes of each episode where I just go, pause. Here's what grinds my gears.
Special segment, a new screen comes up, loud music plays for a second,
Transitions. It's
transitions
just me going,
to you, like, so here's what grinds my gears.
here's what really chaps my ass.
Oh, so I have ammo on me. I will try and figure something out when I come back to town. It was just a clarification question.
I'm not gonna. Oh. I'm sorry. I'm just looking over at the chat, and somebody was like, "Deca said too cumbersome." Do you know the saw, the squad automatic weapon, the big M249? It fires the same round as an M16 and has a receiver for the magazine that an M16 uses. The reason is because you want to be able to share ammo if you have crews that are going light, or if you're M249, which you're trying to lay down suppressor. Anyways, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. Okay.
I'm now just
Yes.
picturing shooting a gun with like a bag of holding strapped to the side of it, just catching ammo.
It's belt fed from the bag. Oh no, to catch the brass
to catch the brass.
That's interesting. Now I'm thinking of a belt fed that comes out but also catches in. No, it doesn't work shooting from a 30 round mag, but at least you have the ammo. What is even this round? What is even this episode? I don't know. Anyways,
as far as we got, it was we're here. Do we need anything?
you gathered your help. Shut up, Deca. I blame my love for all of you that get me involved in conversations.
Oh.
Anyways, yes, you gather your health potions. You know what? Just enough wrong. I'm going to have that conversation with you later. Remind me, put a note in Otter's Discord to talk to Heath about the M249. All right. So you gather up your health potions, yes.
And this is just out of character. As far as Liz knows, we're not really dealing with vampires on a new continent, correct?
No, as far as you know. As far as Liz knows. The descriptions that you've seen have all seemed otherworldly. And like I said, the new world is covered with fae. This is something that you are excited about. You haven't still seen a whole lot of elves, like you've seen a few, but not like home. But yes, the fae presence is very strong. treants and fawns. You've even heard of maybe some centaurs that are out, but you haven't seen any of them. All right.
And-
Ren takes a deep breath. Yeah, what's up?
I will say before we leave, we have received a party boon.
Ooh, party boon. Your party boon is going to be added to stealth. Everybody has advantage on their next stealth roll.
I'll take it.
All right. All right. With that all being said, and me going off on a tangent about guns, Ren guides you into the forest. Here and there, game trails have been slightly moved so that you guys can keep track of movement. You can see that game trails have been reshaped and used for passing through of feet, not of animal feet. He darts in and out of rocks here and there, traveling through the better part of a day. And you do see some people as you move, some natives to the land, some of the indigenous people. They pass and they give a hello in their native tongue, with which you hear Ren repeat back to them. The forest is dense. There is a lot of undergrowth. There is a lot of trees. And it is also rocky. It is not. It travels up and down, but more often than not, you find yourselves winding carefully and precariously between two very large rocks on a wettened ground from where the dew cannot dry because the sun doesn't get to it appropriately. So you carefully pick your way amongst rocky crags as you're moving. The better part of the day, the sun lost in the dappling of the forest canopy above you, you hear the sound of water rumbling over a cliff. Moving forward, you can see ahead of you a ravine that opens. It drops away probably 200 feet to a river below. To your right, you can see a place to cross as the water rushes over a waterfall down the precipice into the river below. As you start to move, Ren takes a right and starts to move up along the bank. As you are moving, you hear the sound of splashing from ahead of you. Looking, you see some animals that are frolicking in the water. One of them has taken something and is sitting on a rock, kind of on his back, and he is like chomping. You can hear him. He looks up and spots you, and doesn't abandon it, but drags it in his mouth off to the water, where he promptly like swims and turns on his back, making sure that he has the home field advantage kind of situation. Probably about 4 feet long from tip to tail. His fur is sleek in the water. You can see he has kind of a little squashed snout that kind of upturns a little bit, and black eyes. A powerful tail, but 4 arms that seem to have little hand, almost. Ren laughs and says, "Ah, one of the otters." Ren takes a moment and kind of casts an incantation. When he's done, he speaks, I say, into the water, to which it responds back. Ren turns to look at you all and says, "He's introduced himself as Baskerfell." Yes, for those of you keeping score at home, that would be the crew. I wrote it in our channel there so you guys can see.
I butchered that name. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Even. Yep. Nope. Totally butchered that name. Cool.
I almost want to ask you spell how you spelled it because now I want to see. You might have a better spelling. I don't know. He claims he's the king of this river. What tribute do you have to give to him? It is his river, he says. At least to the fall, back that way.
I'm just enjoying that there's now a talking otter. Don't mind me.
Well, he hasn't spoken to you. He's only spoken to...
Yes, but he's speaking. And he exists.
This is true.
Yes, Deca, to your question.
I knew the answer to that was yes. He wants to know what tribute. Do you have any tribute that you can give to him?
Liz is going to ask,
You cut out.
do we
lost
need
ya.
to give?
Was it, do we need to pay tribute?
Yeah, do we need to pay tribute, and does it grant protection?
Well, you wouldn't want somebody walking into your home without, the proper gratuity, correct? I mean, right? It's only kindness if you're going to be like barging through somebody's house, scaring a fish and making a scene and all that.
Liz nods, and in her pack, I assume she probably has some sort of like dried fruit of some kind, probably because that's what she eats. So she would
So you're gonna
produce the
break
dried
out.
fruit and be like, "This is my."
So you break out fruit and offer that.
Dried fruit, yes, correct. So like preserved fruit.
Not having encountered one of these creatures before, they're definitely strange. Cute, but strange. It makes a motion over to kind of like investigate what you're offering, and then chatters noisily. And then Ren just kind of reaches over and like carefully but calmly like pushes your hand and your fruit back down. He says, not that. Not that. Just so you know, otters, they don't eat plants. I'm watching Otter the player try to keep a straight face over there.
Separating player's brain from my brain.
This is something I've had on me for a while, and I don't know if you like. Well, I have a couple teeth on me. I mean, they're teeth, don't get me wrong, but I've got a couple vampire fangs, and I don't know if it would help maybe them cut into flesh if they want to get to specific pieces faster.
Give me a perception check.
15.
From what you can see easily, you can tell he has no problem tearing apart fishes.
Yeah. If anything, it's more of an offer of something that I hold dear just because I collect. I guess it's nothing that would help him, but it's a gift from something I hold close. Don't ask why I collect teeth. I just do.
News to me.
I usually I mean, actually, you guys probably would have seen me pull the vampire's fangs from the first vampire we fought. Because I like
Deca's like,
them. Actually, no, it's usually just, it's kind of one of those things like, I'm doing stuff, I can help kill things, having these teeth on me more or less kind of reminds me that I can help, kind of thing. Listen, I'm a boy with
Liz,
anxiety. You can't look at me, okay? Yes, yes, he can. It's with a dagger, though. Is that okay?
Liz is just like used to like dealing with the face, so she's like, well, if dried fruit isn't going to work, how about like a shiny?
Um, he Ren looks at your offerings and takes a leather lashing and like quickly wraps and secures your pieces that you have to where they're made into a medallion like thing. He then like holds it out and you watch as Beskerfell makes his way over, leaving his fish on a rock on the opposite side. He swims over, his powerful tail kicking through. He comes up and says something to Ren, and Ren just nods, kneels down, and then ties the leather lashing around Beskerfell's neck so that he looks like he has a necklace. The little river otter picks it up and looks at it, chirps, and then sleekly disappears into the water for a second before turning back to look at you all. He says that as long as the river is concerned, that you that you can be his friends, that you're his companions. He also says that he has a friend that can help. Yeah, he is a friend that can help you. He can see above the ground.
I will look upwards and around to see if there's another creature nearby.
He kind of looks around with you, and then you watch as the Beskerfell swims across. You watch as he grabs a rock and he starts banging it on other rocks, making a loud clack sound. Clack, 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 clack. After a few moments, a large black bird with white feathers across its chest. And when I say large, the otter himself is probably about 2.5 feet, well, about just a little over 2 feet long from tip to tail. The bird, probably from tip of his nose to the tip of his tail, is about that close. Yeah, he's a big bird. It lands next to Beskerfell and like tips its head and like clacks its beak and then like pecks the necklace. You watch as Beskerfell like pulls himself away and then like disappears in the water again. Ren talks for a moment and you hear the bird go, "Agwak." Ren goes, "Agwak? Agwak." His name is Agwak. It tips its head, opens its beak, and you can see its black tongue go, "Agwak." That's what he says his name is. He doesn't demand any tribute. Unless you have a shiny you want to give him.
Liz just pulls out another random shiny, but this one's probably closer to. It's probably not a rock. It's probably something made of silver, so that it actually like shines in the light. And she just hands it to Ren.
Ren like goes. About that time, you feel something heavy light on your shoulder. Like boom, it sits, and you see a beaked head, like looking down over your shoulder at it. Is anyone here familiar with a magpie? And how big they get?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're looking at a magpie, and he is sitting on your shoulder, looking down, like. He carefully, without hurting you, takes it and then like looks at it, drops it back in your hand, and moves his claws over it before picking it up again. He flies away for a moment.
It's coming back.
I think so, but you never can tell with magpies. But I think so. We're gonna cross here, and you can see Beskerfell on his back, and he splashes his tail and swims downstream or downriver a bit. We should follow. And Ren starts walking that direction. You hike for about a mile before you can see where the river once probably rolled over a short drop, but now the drop has been eroded away to create a spot where the river is divided at a narrow point by two rocks. They're outcropped over the river itself. It should be an easy jump from one side to the other. As you climb to the top of it, you can see that it's still a little wet from where the river runs through and splashes around in the rocks. I will need athletics checks from everybody, please.
Athletics or acrobatics or just straight athletics?
Athletics is all about using the power to jump across, so I need athletics. It's in them
18.
legs. You spring across there quite easily. When you get to the other side, you're like, oh, that's not that far at all.
10.
10?
Oh.
So Liz did a nat 20. So I just feel like she just like was all like, I'm gonna do a little jump, and then she does like a huge jump because she's not like noticing her own strength.
Yeah, it's like it's that anime moment where you like put your feet down and like the rocks just kind of rumble slightly, and you just kind of jump across. For those of us who are older, you hear the now is whenever you jump across. And on the other side, you watch as Moonin just kind of and then hops and lands at the edge, but not like teetering at the edge. But all of you make it across safely. Ren kind of hops across, and then Gej just kind of like it's an easy jump for Gej as they make it across. When you land on the other side of the river, you can see sitting in one of a kind of a lower branch, a large black bird with a white chest. It looks like your friend has returned. Quack. It tips its head. Ren looks at it for a moment and says, "Are we supposed to follow you?" It tips its head back the other way and once again says its name's Aquak. We're supposed to follow him. And with that, it hops from branch to branch into the depths of the forest, not along a trail, just into the forest. As you're moving through, your clothing and your things that are on your back are snagged by small branches, bushes, and things like that. You push through, and your body is starting to feel the weight of the forest trying to hold you back while you're trying to push through. After about 15 minutes, you realize you are drenched in sweat from this movement and motion. Eventually, you leave the river far behind you, pushing through the dents, and all the time the bird is hopping above you, clacking its beak, and every once in a while saying its name, as though to make sure you didn't lose sight of him. He keeps hopping from branch to branch, keeping to where you can see him. You keep pushing through the dense forest until eventually it opens up. A natural bowl where the rock has caved in and over time has been eroded away is created. It's moss covered on one side. As you kind of see, you kind of put your butt down and scoot, you can slide into the bowl. It's probably at the deepest 6 feet deep, but again, it's not something you want to just tumble off into. This slate of rock on either side is created by this natural bowl in there. A small bit of water seems to be collected in the basin of the bowl, and it seems to be stagnant, as though it's just not been dried out, but it has been sitting here for quite some time. Agwak pops to the edge of the bowl and looks at all of you expectantly. He hops down and starts towards the center of the bowl, making sure that one of you stays close by. Who's going first into the bowl? Okay. Who's
Liz is just
following?
like, yeah, we'll follow this bird.
All right.
So yeah, so Liz will go down.
All right. As you jump down into there, you can see that the bowl is wider across than you maybe have originally gathered. At first, it maybe looked like it was 20 feet, but it's probably closer to 30. At the basin, at the base of the bowl, at the very bottom where that pool of water is, it's probably about 5 feet across. As you look, you can smell that it's been sitting here for some time. It does not smell good. Agwak kind of hops nearby, but stays just like close enough to where you can give protection. Is anybody else going down into the basin?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As all of you finally get in, perception checks. Actually, what are your passive perceptions again, please?
18.
22.
13. I'm not here to be eyes.
Liz and Moonin, you should. You should. I'm disappointed.
Normally I do. I don't know what my problem was this time.
You didn't take that feat.
Maybe it's my fucking 10 in wisdom. I don't know. I have proficiency in perception, but that's not helping me.
You need to take that observant feat like the rest of them did. All right, so as you get there, you can look around and see, Moonin, especially you, and Liz, also you see small lines, not fissures, more like grooves in this rock. As you look around, you can see that it's a pattern where they all kind of move and intertwine, and they end where the water is, the basin. Agwak hops onto Ulysses' shoulder. It calls loudly almost in your ear, like you can see his head stretch out when he calls. It's like, oh, that's loud. As he does, there's a fluttering of wings in the trees above you as other birds seem to be scattered by the sound of his call, which is made even louder from the curvature of the basin. It echoes and reverberates around the trees, almost seems to shake them. As the fluttering of the wings settles, you start to hear the sound of it getting away, and like maybe they disturb something in the trees as you hear a cracking sound. And you realize that the cracking sound doesn't stop immediately. It seems to continue. Eventually, you notice something as through the forest, the dense forest, something seems to be moving, something impossibly tall as one of the trees. And you realize that it is one of the trees. It steps forward and into the basin. It's a twisted, gnarled looking thing. The trees that you saw back at the port, they seem to be following the natural order of a tree. So the firs were straight and tall, the oaks broad and their limbs long. This one seems to be stunted, its limbs twisted. One of them longer than the other, and it reaches out with that elongated limb to the center of the basin where that water sits, and it seems to drain the rest of it. As it does, it looks up, and it kind of cracks and creaks. It may be speaking a language, but you don't know what it's saying.
Does Ren know what it's saying? Like, Liz would look over at Ren.
He looks at it, and as you look around for Ren, you notice that he is nowhere to be seen. Gej is still there.
Liz would then cast Tongue.
All right.
Then
As you
cast tongues too, and ask the tree to repeat itself.
cast this spell and you say and you ask for it to repeat itself, it says, drink deep from the ground. Not good. Must feed forest hungers.
Liz repeats it word for word in common to the rest of her party, and she seems confused.
You watch as the tree repeats itself again. And it seems to be you can make out this face in the tree, but it's this twisted, angry looking thing. How do you respond?
Would be rude to decline. Are we drinking something? Is that the...
You don't seem to see anything around for you to drink.
This big basin had like a little bit of water in it, right?
It just soaked that up.
Mm-hmm.
Can we add more?
How do you want to go about doing that?
Take out my water skin and pour it in.
Okay. You pour in. Do you empty the water skin into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Later.
All right. You pour your water skin out completely, and it makes, a handful or 2 handfuls of water that seem to pool here. Anybody else?
I don't remember if clerics do create
Food and water.
Yep, they
water
should be
or
able
not.
to.
So
They do.
Yes,
The better
so-
question is, do you have it?
yeah, she would have, if she was going in the forest, shared that. I just didn't because I didn't think about it. But yes, so she would have prepared that as one of the things instead of probably guiding bolt is no, probably instead of healing.
Hey.
So yes, so she's like, all right, and she creates 10 gallons of water.
Should
All
we
right.
get out of the bowl before you do that?
I mean, worst comes to worst.
And she can swim.
In her armor?
It's harder to get out of a curved wet surface than a curved dry one.
All right. You fill the basin with water.
I mean, or if Liz is just all like, no, fuck it, we're gonna do it.
That tracks for
it's
Liz.
5 feet across, so I mean, 10 gallons of water is probably only going to be like a foot high.
True, but now our socks are wet.
Which,
I'm
if
sure
you're a
our socks have already
survivalist-
been wet.
I mean,
So-
for me, I'm just like, this isn't anything I've dealt with recently. So
any good survivalist will tell you never get your socks wet.
true. This isn't my first time with wet socks.
Or pants.
Or
Water fills the basin. As it does, you notice the lines that were traced throughout the bowl seem to glow faintly. The Trent reaches down with its twisted arm and starts to draw in water. You watch as the glowing lines seem to spread. There's a soft glow about everything. It steps out of the bowl after drinking not everything that was in the bowl, but a good portion of it. As it starts to move away from you, you watch as it slows its gait, and eventually it sort of stops altogether. It looks like its twisted life as a treant has come to an end, and it's returned to just a natural tree. The water in the basin starts to lower. And then stops. There's about double the size of the pool that you saw when you originally walked up. So about 10 feet across, I would say. Pretty good sized puddle of water in the basin. The magpie hops nervously around. What are you doing now?
So this is the first time that Liz would not be able to understand the.
Oh.
You're breaking up again there.
I shall move
Still can't hear you on that one.
closer to my new mic. Liz has been able to actually like speak and understand. All right, it must be my internet.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So this is the first time that Liz has been able to speak to the magpie and understand it. So she asks, "Why are you nervous?"
It looks at you for a moment. I need to check on something before I answer that question. Because you cast tongues, but that's not what Ren cast to speak with the bird.
I'm guessing a speak with animals.
That is correct. The animal is not necessarily speaking a language, hence tongue would not work. It worked with the treant because he was speaking a language. But, unfortunately, the bird cannot speak language. He just bird.
Bored.
He just
Bored.
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 This is not my bird. So, are you staying in the basin longer, or are you leaving the basin? I see you have your finger up at me. She's giving me the finger, everyone.
So magpies can interact with humans and can mimic human speech.
They can.
So I don't know if that would count or not.
No.
He's just-
Magpies can imitate language or imitate speech, and they actually have understanding, and they can actually form a vocabulary. However, that is not an instantaneous thing. That is something that is done over time. For more on this and other magpie things, Google My Magpie Speaks. Or Maggie the Magpie, I think, is another one.
Well, at
There's
least at
actually
this
some really
point,
great
we know the
videos.
magpie speaks otter, at least. But that doesn't help us either.
Nope. All right. So you're still in the middle of this basin, or in the bottom, near the bottom of this basin. What are you doing?
Are
climbing out
the
the other
lines
side?
still glowing? Or if that
They
is
are
that faded?
no longer glowing. They have faded out.
I'm gonna get out to the outside crawl out of the dome and try and see a better view of what all of those lines look like as a whole instead of just what part of the dome I'm looking at.
Okay, you have to climb like up a tree and look down.
Okay.
Okay. I need another athletics check, please, because this is gonna be funny when you fall out of this tree. I mean, I want to make sure you don't fall out of this tree.
That's so cool. That's 16.
Okay. This.
So when the bottom of the basin became 10 feet, did it look like the walls that were 5 or 6 feet became shorter? Did it look like it moved that way?
No, it's just like the puddle, the basin of water filled up, and then when the treant drank, it lowered down to about this 10-foot wide puddle. Because the basin from the circumference of the basin, or the diameter is 30 feet across.
Oh, okay. So like 10 gallons of water would have been like minimal at best across 30 feet of like diameter. So
Right. So you're looking at a bowl. So you're looking at a concave structure. At the width of it, at the highest point, at the lip from lip to lip, is 30 feet diameter. The basin itself, at the bottom of the bowl, is not 30 feet across. So your 10 gallons would have dispersed, and the volume would have spread out across the distance until the surface viscosity could no longer equalize the pressure. So you're looking at either it being a puddle or it being a thin coating if it were like a large flat area, or it would have been like having about that much milk in the bottom of a gigantic bowl.
Oh, for some reason I thought you said that the bottom of the basin was 5 feet across and then it became 10 feet across.
The puddle, the original puddle,
Okay.
was about 5 feet
Original
across.
puddle.
The new puddle that's
Okay.
left from your water is about 10 feet across. But instead of being stagnant water, it's clean water. Is everybody getting that image?
Mhm.
Okay. Let's make sure I wasn't describing it. Bowl, water,
How deep
narrow puddle.
was the bowl? Like, how far down
6
did
feet.
that bowl go? 6 feet?
6 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
So, without getting into too much math. Yeah, it's not okay. So maybe I think I know where you're getting confused. It's not top of bowl, straight bottom of bowl, basin. It is curved all the way, like looking at a contact lens. See, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not like a dish, like a pizza pie or another
Okay.
pan.
I thought it was like a dish, like an actual like
Yeah,
like a cup bottom of the dish. So
you thought
she
it was
was
like what he
she
has.
probably would not have done that. So she probably would not have done that. She probably would have tried to get out of that because 10 gallons
it's
in
fine.
across 5 feet would have been that. So to back up, she probably would have been like, "Hey, we should probably have gotten out of the bowl, or at least moved up the sides of the bowl, and then put water in."
Right.
And she would have told everyone that.
So, how did you do on your athletics check for climbing the tree? Yes.
That was a 16.
Yeah, 16.
That's right, 16. You scramble up to the top and you look down and you can see that it is clearly a pattern. What I need from you is I'll say Arcana, even though I know it's not a thing you have. But I will let you roll an Arcana or a straight intelligence check. Do you have any navigation? Let me ask you that question.
Navigation?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a thing on here?
What's your background again?
Urban
Soldier?
bounty hunter?
Probably not a thing you have. Yeah, there's like land vessel use and sea vessel use and things like
Yeah,
that.
you'd be looking at things like sailor and I think soldier gets that as well for
Soldier
some
gets
reason.
something.
I have ear to the ground.
Not gonna help you here. So
So
what's
it's
that?
Great Arcana?
Survival.
Yeah.
Liz can help because she's proficient in survival, but I don't know if that would help here.
Actually,
I'm the only one up the tree, but
does Moon have survival?
I'm not proficient in it.
I'll let you make a survival check. I'll argue that one.
Okay. That's a dirty 20.
It is. It's interesting to look at these lines. You don't know where these grooves came from, but if you were to compare this to, like, say, a charted map, it would look like traversal lines for certain things. You know how you look at like a sailing map and you can see like current lines of traversal?
Yeah.
Like traversal lines where currents flow and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It looks a lot like that.
I think the bowl might be some kind of map. I'm not familiar if this has any magical basis to it. Obviously it glowed, but it almost reminds me of like traverse lines on a map.
With this, Liz would then try to attempt to climb the tree to see this map.
Athletics check, please.
Why don't you just let me go up the tree and draw it?
You can.
That's
There's
a
plenty of
13.
trees. You are in a forest. It's a little tougher going, but you're able to get up to one of the lower branches, so you can see.
Do you want me to make a survival check to see if I know anything about this map?
I want an Arcana check. How'd you do over there, Q?
She's not
No,
the
I
most
rolled a
intelligent person.
I have a 17 plus 3.
Okay, so you climbed up the tree, no problem at all.
That Arcana check is a 13.
It could be something magical, but you're not sure how you put it together. But you can kind of make out what he was saying. You know, you see the traversal lines.
Now that I'm up in this tree, do I see Ren?
Yes, and he is powerfully cowering behind a very large tree that is not moving.
She calls out to him and goes, "Do you know anything about magic?"
Yes, I know lots about magic.
Can you come help us out? What this is?
Maybe. Did you? I'm gonna ask if Emrys gave me an Arcana check.
I didn't. Hold on.
While you're up the tree, go ahead and give me one.
Okay, I want to roll with this dice. 17.
Total?
Yeah, 16 plus 1.
You've seen enough magic cast that one of the things that you know about it is that it usually made up of one of 3 parts. At minimum, it has to have a verbal. Sometimes it may have a material. And sometimes it may have the last component, which is the somatic. And you know what the somatic is? Hand movements. Some of these look like if you're tracing them with your finger, it looked like they could be some sort of like somatic component.
Sorry, I'm laughing because Emrys is French and probably talks with his hands a lot. So I'm just like, yeah, hand movements? Okay. Sorry. Stupid. I'll do it. That's fine.
Okay.
I'll start doing the I mean, the last time I did this, I made a friend, so what's the worst that can happen?
As you start to trace, like looking at it, you're like tracing, but you're not really sure where to start. It's kind of like the lines are there, but there's no like starting and end point. A
Yep.
voice above you kind of goes, "What is it that you think you're going to accomplish there?"
Uh, honest,
You're Mhm.
I'm gonna jump. I can't help it at that point. Not used to that yet.
Give me a dexterity saving throw.
Yeah, it's gonna be. It's like one of those shakes the entire fucking tree. Okay, that's a dirty 20. So 14
Okay.
plus 6.
You manage to spring, but yet maintain hold of the tree as you look up to see the very handsome, dark-haired demon sitting there with a nice brocade vest, a white shirt underneath with slightly billowed sleeves, a cravat tied. He goes, "Boo."
Is there some sort of way you can give me a warning for that?
No, this is way too much fun. So, again, I ask, are you trying to direct an orchestra, or is it something else you attempted to gain with that?
I don't know. It was just an idea. Why? What do you think of this?
I'll hum Beethoven while you stroke the air.
You know, I would be interested to hear that.
So would I. Another time?
Perhaps.
He's he sits down, he like doesn't even like clamber, he just kind of like floats down next to you.
Mm.
You know, y-
It's Beethoven. Sorry.
Beethoven was alive. He was a bard. Um,
Whew.
you were you trying to practice magic just now? Was that what the thing was there?
I not necessarily. I mean, seen it done like that.
Mm.
Is that not how it normally works?
He gently takes one hand and puts it around you and pulls your head to his chest. My poor sweet sugar plum. No, not at all. You can feel like stroking your hair.
Ah, all right. You know what? I'll play along with this for now. Then what is it?
You're going to need 3 pots, at minimum 2.
Okay.
Well, no, at minimum 1. And that is the verbal. You need to know the words for the incantation with which you're trying to spell. With the spell that I've given you, there's a
Y-
word that comes to mind before you cast forth with mighty force. Isn't it there?
yes. Sorry.
Do you know the words for the
I know.
incantation?
I. I know.
Listen, plum. And you know he has both your hand, like your head in his hands. My little sugar plum, listen. Do you know the words to the spell that you were trying to cast? I'll give you a hint. You don't, do you?
No. No, I don't.
There. All right. This isn't an incantation, my
Okay.
dumpling.
Yep. Okay.
He he kind of like clicks at your chin, you know, kind of like tipping your chin up.
Oh,
You're
good.
so you're so precious. These are ley lines, my love.
Mm-hmm. Um, there was some guesses there, but I don't know why I thought magic. This forest seems alive with it, so
Oh
all
no,
right.
no, it's really is truly alive. It's stuffy with it. Ley lines. It's so wonderful that you're so pretty. Pat, 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 pat.
More than pretty.
Of course you are. Of course you are. It's just to fill you in, Deca, because I don't know if you were there. It is not just a shadow demon. It is Gratzt, the demon of desire and pleasure. Like,
I picked up a side piece on our journeys to save a kid. It's fine.
yeah. That's why he's coming on strong, because it is Gratzt. So, all right, Sugar Plum. These are ley lines. Do you know what those are? I'm just
I'm
going to
tempted
assume the
to-
answer is no.
You know what? You assumed wrong. So, next step.
What?
I'm sure. Listen, I can't talk smart. Emrys can. Just with what he. Well, landlines are.
Landlines. This isn't an analog phone. Ley lines. Landlines. That's what my parents had.
Landlines.
My parents still have a landline.
My
Ley
brain.
lines.
Okay, my brain knows what ley lines are, but at the same time, it's would I guess yes, would Emrys know?
Would Imrus have a reason for knowing what ley lines are?
Uh, I would say it depends on where he would go in hiding because my phone's talking to me. Shut up. Because that is he's definitely traveled a lot to stay in hiding, and if that happens to cross ley lines sometimes, I would say maybe he might have a rough guess, but whether that guess is right or wrong is up to you.
All right. So much like the flow of current or wind, they follow a certain pattern. They have a traversal that they would follow.
Yeah.
Magic, therein of, has the same thing, and they are marked by the ley lines. This is the natural traversal of the weave of magic all around. You would know that coming across the people that you have and working with the directorate and things like that. That isn't to say that magic can't be cast anywhere. It can, at least as far as you know.
Yeah.
But where the ley lines are, where they cross or where there is an intersection or a path that you can see, is usually where it's like the strongest.
Okay.
Those back in Europe are usually very well guarded by guess who?
The directorate.
The directorate.
So I would definitely know just based off the information I would get from the directorate, but I wouldn't know that much. So me saying yes is just me trying to shove that. Yeah, I know what I'm talking about in
Oh,
this
okay.
gentleman's face.
No,
But
he
at the
was
same,
like full on waiting for you to explain. Go ahead.
I have. Okay, I know what I know from papers from the directorate. I don't. Fine.
Yeah, the director, yeah. You're
Continue your
precious.
speech, please.
Otter, you had your hand up. Or Moonin.
Can we hear Emrys talking to themselves? Or is this like a brain chat?
I will
Well,
also say I did climb a different tree just because I feel like
I'm
that's
just curious, like,
tree.
yeah, I
like,
feel like that would
is
put a lot of
Emrys
pressure on that
within a
tree.
distance that, like, is this a verbal conversation? Or, like,
I mean,
are we seeing Emrys talking to nothing?
I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with just wandering out into the woods to go hiking or anything else like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of noise. There's not the noise pollution that you have in a city setting. So even really love that bottle. So even
Who's dripping? I don't know what you're talking about.
no comment. So even though they might be in a different tree, you can hear Emrys
Muttering, at least.
muttering to himself. I would say enough to where you can catch going, I know what they are.
That point, exactly. It's just like, I definitely know what they are.
Also, welcome, Dragon Love Water. Yes, this is the Troubleshooters. It is set in an alternate Earth where magic is real, but it's only about 500 years old or so, give or take. This is set just after the Great War, what we refer to as World War One. No, he is named after the bird, but he is not secretly a crow. That at least that he has told the DM. So there we go. However,
Surprise.
his character is from Norway, and so as such, his family probably came by that as part of just their heritage. Lysandra is an elf and has been with us for. She is actually the elven race is very sparse here on Earth. It was because of an accident that some of them crossed over. We do have another player with us named Gej, who is a half orc, but the half orcs are nomadic and settled a lot in the area that would be Mongol or Siberia and in Russia. Again, not prolific and like there's huge herds of them, but just that's where they are. Gej happens to be half orc with an Irish descendancy, which is fantastic. And then we have Emrys, who is what are you, a changeling? Is that what
Yeah.
we are a changeling who looks very human, who picked up the abilities to be a warlock. There are no warlocks, at least that nobody knows of the term warlock or sorcerer. You are a wizard. You came by magic because you studied the Librum Arcanum. You studied to learn magic. However, we're starting to see weird things crop up, such as magic from out studying it, magic by an innate ability, or those who have pacts with demons.
And
Like-
for the record, none of the rest of the party knows that Emrys has this patron.
They see Emrys sitting in a tree nearby, talking to himself, going, "Of course I know what they are."
So
You know what these are, Emrys?
Liz is actually very proficient about in the woods and everything else. So she definitely would hear Emerus and being like, the fuck? But she's also now like focused on Ren. She's all like, Emerus is weird. It's fine.
At hearing Emrys's exclamation, I would have just kind of, you figured it out? You okay?
Yes,
You-
I'm. I'm fine. I.
Tell him all about them,
Uh,
since you're so well versed in it all.
No, I have an idea what they are, but I'm slowly, well, milling through my.
He doesn't have a clue. Not a clue.
Can they hear you?
Wouldn't that be a thing? Would you like them to?
No,
Are you certain?
please. No.
Moonin.
No,
And he's
no.
looking at Moonin, going, Moonin.
Yes.
Your friend Emrys wants to get it on with a demon.
No,
Listen.
nothing. I don't hear shit.
What? They don't have a pact with me. They can't hear me.
Moonin is just looking at you, waiting for an answer,
As
as you
you're-
mumble to yourself.
As you watch as Emrys turns back and has a nervous look on the face and looks at you, and then you're just like,
What? I'm working on it. I'm figuring it out, if you would say. I have an idea, but I'm hoping more will come to me.
Graxt
you-
is now appeared like sitting behind and over Moonin's shoulder and is currently going like near his ear.
You know the real need for Emrys as like just to be like, "Oh, I'd throw a dagger. Come back to me, but Moonin think Moonin would
I
shoot me
swear to
again,
God,
and
if
I
you throw a
didn't like
dagger
that.
at me.
I wouldn't even be throwing a dagger at you. I'd be throwing a dagger by you, and it would miss him, and I know it would miss him, but oh, the satisfaction of hitting the spot where he was. But then I'd probably get shot, and then I'd fall out of a tree, and it would be so much damage, and I'm not looking at that.
Because Moonin wouldn't have even said you threw it by me. Moonin says you missed. I didn't.
Exactly. So now I'm sitting here like, Grass,
You
I know you
know,
like to talk, so
He's
just
now making lewd like gestures right next to Moonin, like.
Cap. This I'm just gonna put in here real quick. That is for you.
Emrys doesn't smoke, but he might pick it up. So when are we giving a Moonin a gun that has healing bullets? Just for our sanity and our safety.
Just know, if that ever happens, I can heal you from really far away.
You know what? We'd be the
Really
perfect
far.
team.
Anna from Overwatch.
Honestly.
Oh
The,
no.
The medic from Team Fortress 2.
The worst thing is I couldn't even try and catch the dagger because if I did, it would just go
Right back to his hand.
And that's exactly why I would throw this one, but at the same time I'm like, I'll figure it out, Moonin, don't worry about it. I'm just gonna look away and you know what? Continue orchestrating music over here.
Are you talking to someone else?
No, I'm talking to myself for the most part.
Gratz appears right beside you again. Yes, he's losing his mind.
Yep,
As they would say, his cheese is sliding off the cracker.
Does Emrys seem themselves?
I seem frustrated.
Give me an insight check.
Because
If
I've
anything,
now
I'm
seen
frustrated.
Emrys mumbling in my direction and then quickly another direction and back at me. Hold on, please. What is my number for insight?
If anybody wants to know, I love my job.
Oh, good. That's a big number. A lot. 25.
Yes and no.
Something's funky.
Yeah, something's
Yeah, you
off.
can tell me that twice. You can say that again.
And Deca,
Something's funky.
yes. Deca, that answer is yes.
Something's a little funky.
Bliss just looks up at Moonin and just goes, "We'll deal with Emrys later. Hopefully, he'll get the answer." I think we should be concerned about our new friend, and the fact that he won't come near the bowl.
Emrys, you keep doing what you're doing. I hope you figure it out. I'm gonna get out of this tree.
Gratz is now poking you in the shoulder. Do something.
Do what?
Do some. I don't care. You're boring.
I'm just gonna go ahead to Rin while Emrys is doing his thing.
Listen, I can tell you like to talk, Grast. Why don't you just tell me?
What's the fun in that? If I just walked around everywhere and gave you the answers, where's the fun in that? Where's that spirit of self-discovery? Finding all the answers that you want and desire.
There are more answers that I'm looking for, prior to this, but
And
they're not at the
solving
top of my list.
Well, solving the puzzle along the way is all part of the journey. The adventure. Don't you agree?
You frustrate me.
I can
And
help
not
you
in
with
the
that
way you wish
frustration.
it would.
You're a spoil sport. I can help that frustration. Liz.
Now, Emers has said Grat's name, so, and I assume Liz probably would have heard this. Would Liz have any idea who Gratz is, being from not here?
I mean, I wouldn't have said it
Okay.
outwardly.
I
I would
wasn't
have
sure.
tried to mutter it, if anything. But
I have the elven ears. Come on
But this
now.
isn't. But this isn't
Is it-
the. This isn't walking into the clothing store and yelling out Peter Dietrich's name as opposed to Christoph Anders. This is like, okay, he said a weird name, but that doesn't mean anything to you. He could be talking to himself and the voices in his head.
On that
Perhaps it's
note,
just-
I went to Rin, and I'm just watching Emrys in their tree from where Rin is.
He seems to be nervously like doing his feet again. Is he gonna be okay?
No.
Wait, who's talking to who here?
No,
Ren
I'm
is
just saying
asking
no.
Moonin. Ren was
Okay.
asking Moonin if Emrys is gonna be okay.
I thought the demon was doing a little feet thing, talking to Emrys, and I had to clarify.
No, it's not enough of a coy accent though.
Okay. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna wait till he gets out of the tree to find out.
I have
Are
controlled
you
multiple
okay?
personality disorder. Yes, this is a very powerful place. It's where the magic's kind of, there's crossings here. Something's not right though. That treant was corrupted.
Should
Whatever
he
whatever
not
spirits
have
out here.
drank from the water?
I don't know why that would have had that effect, and it kind of terrifies me. Here's what I would tell you: don't drink the water. Stretch. Oh, I really need that. My back's been bothering me lately. I'm getting old.
Good stretch.
Yes. I'm gonna redeem a hydrate, even though I don't have the points to redeem it.
Wait,
Almost dropped my glass. That was close.
I
Hey!
would
Oh,
say
man,
you
you're right.
absolutely have the points here. See?
Okay, yeah, I do have the points. I have all the points. I have infinite points. I can hydrate until we all have to go pee.
Oh, you want that? It's only worth 500, and I have 105k.
I feel like that'd be trouble for some of those of us at the table.
I only have a certain amount of wine left.
I only
So-
have like very little water left in my Yeti, so
I have a Red Bull upstairs. I could party it up right now.
we need to talk to Yeti about sponsoring us so that we can get their product, and then we can be like, we hydrate with Yeti. We work.
We
on
all
that.
get when we're all like at the same time. That's their commercial. Oh, I hate. God, my brain.
I have this tumbler. I have 2 water bottles at different sizes, and a big fucking coffee cup. That's all Yeti, because this stuff is amazing.
But if I get another mug, I'm gonna have to find another one of these.
My friend, I would find you one of those. That is amazing. Not even for another mug. I just find you one because it's a badass sticker. Right, onto the thing. Ren looks and says, I don't know that should have happened. But very powerful magic, and I think that was part of the corruption, and I don't want to hang around here because what if the thing that like the spirits are not happy? They are not pleased at all.
Hey guys? Rin says the spirits aren't happy in this place, and we may not want to stay here for too long.
Liz just goes, I thought we were trying to find the thing that wasn't making the spirits happy. So
No, we're trying to find.
We're trying to get the seer.
Yeah, the Sybil.
no. Okay. Liz was confused about the adventure. Cool.
To be fair, Liz missed a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, no.
I mean,
Vixen
nap.
missed a little bit.
While they're doing their stuff, I'm just pulling out a map because I would like to say that I picked up a map of like just land in general. I'm not looking for something like a specific town or area, just like a map in general. Mayhaps enough to a point. Or is that
keep
something?
in mind,
Yes.
while it is 1919,
Yes.
that North America is just barely past colonial
Okay.
things. So there has been no Lewis and Clark. There has been no expedition to the
Okay.
west. There has been no settlements down there. I mean, it's like those three places are the only ones we have. There are no settlements in the south of this. It's just you're looking at Roanoke, Virginia, Boston, Massachusetts, and New Amsterdam. Well, they're not Mass, but Roanoke, Boston, and New Amsterdam. That's it. And I
Yeah.
mean, you're basically looking at New York City or just Manhattan Island, really. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
You're looking at that. You're looking at, like I said, Boston, Massachusetts, and Roanoke, Virginia, which are just down the coast from one another. So it's like,
So no sort of rough map. Okay, that's fine.
I mean, not
So
like a terrain map like you would think.
if anything, I wasn't even looking for something that was like close terrain. Like whenever you think in the idea of a world map where names would be placed on it, I was just thinking things that would show like islands and the outlines of water and that kind of thing.
You could probably find something that's like that, but probably not as
Readily
detailed as
available.
what you would think, and probably
Yeah.
not readily available. A lot of the nations that are here, they know their boundaries because of where they are at, but like it's still there's overlap of land and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
interestingly enough, Dragon Love Water to carry on that in Europe because the old magic was dead. There were no druids. The closest thing you would have is a cleric who might have been of the nature domain, and so like a follower of Hera or Dionysus or maybe Bacchus because of the grapes, because of the vineyards, not because of the party. But those but druidic magic doesn't exist. It didn't. They haven't seen druidic magic or magic like this until they came to the New World, because North America, where they're at, is run by the indigenous people who have respect for the nature and therefore have power with it. So back to the storyline. Ren tells you, basically Ren conveys that he knows what these are. They're ley lines. It's where magic is powerful. However, something isn't right. Something isn't quite right here. It's out of flux. It's out of alignment, if you will.
Liz climbs down the tree, and before she climbs out of the tree, does it look like there are other trees that are alive?
Not that you can see.
Okay. Liz climbs down the tree and asks Ren whether or not it seemed like things were more in balance when the water that was put into this bowl became clean.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The forest was happy with that choice.
Should we put more water into the bowl?
I think the rain would do that. Can you make it rain?
I can make it hail.
Where you just throw change at them. Just throw quarters.
Foo! The magpie would be happy.
Oh yeah. I love that joke.
No, I don't. I don't think I can make it rain. I honestly don't know if I can make it rain or not. But I don't think that's a thing that I could do. I mean, I can make zombies, but you know, rain is not really in my wheelhouse.
I believe the nodding of the head is yes, you can. I know as a tempest I could have.
You can with create
Oh.
water.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I make it rain.
Creating water. You create up to 10 gallons of clean water within range in an open container, the bowl. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range. You basically go, and then rain.
You have to do the finger guns, or it doesn't work.
No, you don't have to do the finger gun.
Rain.
Yeah, this is the somatic for it. All right. A rain starts to fall, pattering against the leaves, creating that wonderful, wonderful sound, that pattering of leaves. It fills the area, but only within the basin. Eventually, you see the rain come to a stop, and the basin is more full of water. The lines seem to glow for another moment. The temperature in the area seems to drop suddenly, and the wind sort of shakes the trees. And not long, you feel wet against your cheek. And then you feel more of it start to fall. Eventually, you realize that there is a soft rain that is falling.
That's
Somewhere
a nifty
off
spell
in
there.
You get the impression that wasn't you.
I don't know that.
No, I'm saying.
List just goes. Thank you. She assumes she's talking to her god, but she's not entirely sure if she's talking to her god or the gods. She's just.
Rin kind of tugs on your side, like on like the hem of your shirt or something, and points across the basin. And he goes, "I don't think that was your god." Across the way, you see a figure stepping towards the edge of the basin, a gnarled staff in their hand. Their long hair is pulled into many braids and then braided once more again on the back of their head. You can see all manner of decorations and beads hanging from the hair and different things. Their face is this beautiful mask of androgyny. As they stand across from you, their arms are bare, and you can see like wood that has been sculpted around to form this sleeve at the top and lower part, like vines on their arms. The other hand is bare as well, and you can see what appears to be like deep inking on their arm. It ends in a band of black that comes from the wrist. It's actually these two fingers, all the back of their hand, and up to here in black ink. As they step forward to the edge of the basin, you can see that their feet are bare. They wear what appears to be woven material and buckskin pants. And the vest that they have on hangs down, and it looks like it's made out of a carpet of ivy leaves, big leaf-shaped things. He kneels down and dips a hand. They kneel down and dip a hand in the water and bring it up. They take a smell, and then they take a drink from it. Their eyes looking at you over their hand as they take the drink. He stands and they speak, and it's that native tongue of the people. Ren says he wants to thank you.
Well, I mean, Liz would still understand it because it hasn't been an hour.
Oh, that's true. Yes, and you haven't cast any other concentration spells, so you're good. You hear them saying thank you. But there's still much to be done. Who is it that you come and search for?
Liz would reply in common just so that her party members could understand and this person understands whatever language she speaks. The seer, I assume she probably had the name at some point, so or
No.
whoever she's looking for, she would reply she's looking for them, and she
I don't think we did get a name. I think it was just the seer.
Sibyl. They're called a Sibyl. 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 In ancient times, they were oracles or prophecies of a god, but they're just referred to as Sibyl. But you can definitely say, we're looking for the Sibyl. The Sibyl.
She says that we're looking for the Sibyl or the seer, and I'm sorry that there is much work to be done. We will try to help as best we can, but we are currently looking for someone.
And emotions. Immerse, are you still clambered up that tree?
I would say yes.
Okay.
I would have been so like distracted by conversation with Gretz, but the moment everything sort of hushed and the rain started, that's when I would have looked out, but it probably would have stayed in the tree for the most part.
And you probably would have expected that Gratz is like faffed off, but he's standing there curiously looking. He's like,
what, you fancy them then?
No, it was unexpected. This is all very interesting. I just want you to know. I find this completely and just interesting.
I think that's a surprise for me myself. And I'll start climbing down the tree.
Don't fall. I'm not done with you.
What if I hurt myself? You'll leave.
No, definitely don't do that. Or maybe I'll just stick around to make sure you make a speedy recovery.
Ah, a bedside nurse. Is that what you'll be?
You want to play doctor and nurse? Oh, I'm here for that.
You know what? I figured that. And down the tree I go. Goodbye.
Doesn't
He
even
follows us
climb.
fine.
I have to give you an exam.
Doesn't even climb down from the tree. Just goes, I'm done with this conversation, and just falls.
He just like, yeah. Honestly,
yeets himself off the
I
tree.
think I'd be okay landing. Let's be honest, but I maybe not even climb. I'll just get to the lowest branch and then I'll try and hop down.
Like dismount.
Yeah.
As you land, Grass just standing there, and he quickly scribbles something on. He's holding like a placard. He holds it up, and it says 10. He looks at it and goes, 9. You forgot to do the arm thing.
I don't even know it.
You know what?
I'm not even gonna comment on it. Nope. Gonna like look back and then move on.
Have I driven you mad yet?
Deaf ears.
I'll be back later. And he gooses you and then disappears. And he like does that thing where he walks away and just kind of mists out of the way. And Marissa's standing behind you guys and goes, whoop! And a flush comes over his cheeks. I very much love Grast as well. So the figure from across the water is looking at all of you. And he speaks again. They speak again. I will take you to the Sybil. But the journey will not be an easy one. We have lots of ground to cover. And something in this woods. It hunts. He turns and beckons you all to follow. And as he leads you further into the woods, down a game trail that seems as though it has seen much in the way of movement, that is where we are going to call this session for the night. Sorry, guys. I know it's a shorter session than normal, but like I said, big dad vibes going on. I'm gonna go and sit down and watch a show with the kids and just spend some time with them. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight and tuning in. Dragon Love Water, stick around. We're gonna go raid some friends of mine, and we do this every Monday night. Next week, however, as I mentioned earlier in this episode, next week will be the one shot with Ed Greenwood. We have Ed Greenwood and Tony Winslow Brill as well as Jenny Loveday. We're going to be doing a special one shot called the Aldemir Mystery. So tune in for that. It is a homebrewed world, but it is a kind of set in Faerun, but it's kind of not. It's all over the place. Dragon Love Water. I do not have World Anvil for this one. This is set in on Earth, just slightly different. I do have World Anvil set up for other ones, and I usually broadcast in the World Anvil channel whenever I say, hey, we're going live. I was being a lazy git tonight, so I didn't do it like I normally do, as I usually hit all of my broadcast channels. But we do this every Monday night from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time. Don't forget, tomorrow we are back with World at War with Scion with DM Jason. We also have going on Thursday nights, A Knight's Ransom, which is another homebrewed. Come back and check that out. That one has our very own Otter playing. How do you want to describe your character?
The part
Old
he
AF.
doesn't know a whole lot about me yet, so I'm gonna say a very old enigma.
I like that. A very old enigma. And then Saturday night, we have the Stolen City, so don't forget to tune into those. All of our times are from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you give us a follow here. You can follow us. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. We have a Discord channel where you can jump in and we talk all things D&D. You'll be seeing promo information coming out for the one shot next week. So keep an eye out for that. And I want to thank this group of individuals around me. So huge thanks to Moonin for getting the layout and everything going on that and keeping this beautiful transitions and everything else going on. He works his ass off to make sure that those are there. And I give my commitment of going, yeah, that looks good. Or do you have something else? So that's my input on this whole thing. I want to thank Vixen for being here tonight and for playing Liz, the chaotic energy of the party. And then we want to thank not only for playing Emrys, but also for making sure that our cameras are all connected. And that is our very own Q. We are glad to have you back. We missed you guys last week. So thank you for both being here. I am your DM, Heath. And until next Monday, take care of yourselves. Love you guys. Join us in the Discord. We'd love to talk to you all. Take care, everyone. Good night.